Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's time for a good old-fashioned preview show. There's no technicalities here, there's no mix of videos, no blend of content, just straight old-fashioned preview show. Just the way you like it. Let's do this. Now before we go any further with the video, please make sure to go down below and hit the big red subscribe button if you haven't already, and also make sure to smash the like button. That's equally as important. Let's try and get as close to, is it 33,000 now we're going for, before the derby. Let's try and get, I can't remember, is it 32 or 33? I don't even know my own sub count. Let's try and get as close to 33,000 subscribers before the derby is played on Wednesday. There will be a lot of content coming out over the next few days and build up to that game, but there is one more stop to go. We've got Dundee United, one more game before we can turn our concentration there. And as I have been saying all season, it's one game at a time. Let's keep our mind focused on the next game, but we've still got a tough task ahead of us with a team who, took points off us at Celtic Park earlier this season. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Look, Dundee United haven't been great as of recent. They've kind of fell into a little slump. We'll come on to them a little bit later on in the video, but they are a team who can cause problems for Celtic. Now, the last time we played Dundee United, it was arguably one of our best performances of the entire season. We went to Tannadice, and if you remember that first half performance up there, we were absolutely brilliant, and I'm hoping for more of that on Saturday, or tomorrow I should say. Now, this one is weird because I've been saying all the way up to this game on Wednesday after this that I just care about getting 3 points on the board. I just care about getting the job done, taking the win and moving a step closer to that game, making sure we drop no points before we play Rangers so that we have the best chance of closing the gap and making that gap as little as possible. But I think that is a big important thing tomorrow, that we get a really good performance in, that we perform to our highest, our best level, and we walk away with a real confidence heading into this game on Wednesday. Now, I know that, the form and such goes out the window in these derby games, but we can't deny that a good performance tomorrow against Dundee United would take us into that game on Wednesday feeling a lot better and a lot, more optimistic. I'm already optimistic, I really am, but, we want to walk away from that game with a better second half than what we've seen against Hearts, a better second half than what we've seen against Alloa, because that was the real issue. So tomorrow, I think, first half will be great again. I'm fully convinced that we'll go into that first half and we'll perform really well. We'll create lots of chances. We'll press them high up the park and we'll do all those things right. But I think it's a massive importance tomorrow that there's a full 90-minute performance, not just a 45 and then we dip off a little bit in the second half. I would like us to be rampant once more in the second 45. I'd like us to be creating those same sort of chances, playing with that same intensity. There's a big conversation surrounding this game tomorrow as to, how you look after players and hopefully no one else drops down before that game on Wednesday. But I think it's once again about sending out our best team and giving the faith in them and giving them that opportunity. Now, people might be balancing that argument that I'm giving here with, well, if we go and play like that in the second half when the job's done, then there's a risk of players going down with hamstring injuries, with muscle injuries, and then they could be out for that game on Wednesday. But I think it's such a tough one to please everyone. It's such a weird one that you're in, because if you go out there and you really want to push them, you really want to see them push in that second half and give the same sort of energy when the game is arguably done, then you could have that. But at the same time, if you don't go out and do that in the second half, you're probably going to have the same sort of people going, well, we've not been good enough in the second half. It's an issue. It was the same against Hearts. It was the same against Alloa. And they're not going to feel confident going into the game against Rangers. So it's a real hard one to balance in what you do there and what you want to see. Ultimately, I just want to see a comfortable 90 minutes, and I want to see us with a lot more reassurance. Because it's all well and good saying against Hearts are a good team and they were obviously going to be better in that second half. But the real disappointment was probably Alloa in that second half. We conceded a goal. We let them kind of back into the game and we weren't all that impressive. I think that, we need to refrain from that happening tomorrow, just so we have that little edge to our side and that edge to our confidence heading into the game on Wednesday. Now, I know everyone won't agree, and as I said, there'll probably be people on the side of, well, if the job's done at half-time, it doesn't matter. But I think that second half against Hearts was a real sort of eye-opener as to, well, we need to kind of get the finger out a wee bit. We will come on to the team selection and we will talk about who I think will be in there and what to expect from certain players. But one big thing that I'm looking forward once again to seeing tomorrow, and one thing that's important for everybody in the team, But I'm looking forward to seeing Georgios Giacomakis once more. I hope he adds another goal to the 2 that he's already scored in the previous 2 games, because it is looking likely he could be the guy starting on Wednesday. So for him to go into maybe that game having 3 goals and 3, or maybe even more than that if he adds more than 1 tomorrow, would be absolutely fantastic for him and the rest of the team. But, you know, there's a lot of players in there. O'Reilly, who's just came in, Hatate, who's just through the door, Giacomakis, who's just back from injury, Jota is just back from injury. This is another game where we need to build their confidence. Let them see a lot of the ball. Let them do a lot within the 90 minutes of the game, or however much they may play. I want to see them getting the ball. I want to see them doing things, because these are guys that are basically guaranteed to start the following game, and I want to have their confidence riding high. And against Dundee United, I feel like they've got a real opportunity to do something and really stand up and give us a little bit of optimism and a little bit of reassurance in themselves. I don't think we need reassurance. There are players who have already assured me that they're good enough, but I think that, you know, we're coming into the Rangers game, coming off of new signings, coming off of injuries, you know, you want these players to really have a confidence and a stride about them. And Dundee United's a tough team, right? They're going to sit a little bit deeper tomorrow. They're going to make life a bit tougher. You're going to need creativity. You're going to need initiative. And if they can get through that game against a tough side like Dundee United and do things and see a lot of the ball and feel that confidence around them from their teammates and from their own performances, they'll go in flying into Wednesday's game. So let's talk about the opposition then. Dundee United, who, yeah, have had a bit of a mixed bag season, just like they did last season. You never knew what to expect of them. They were just sitting around the mid-table for the entirety of the season. And it's basically the same once again. Let's have a little look at their form in the last 5 games they have played. They have won their last 2. A big win, of course, midweek there against Ross County. They made it late. Nicky Clark saved them with a 90th minute goal for the 3 points. But a good turnaround after going down 1-0 and a win before that. So they have won their 2 last games. But prior to that, they had lost a few on the bounce, and even beyond that 5-game limit that I have put on screen. I believe Livingston might have beat them just outside that 5 games. They did have Rangers in there, to be fair, but not the greatest run of form. They are trying to turn a little bit of a corner. They have, of course, made additions to the squad. Tony Watt has came in. He's looking to be a big player for Dundee United. He's looking to be a guy that is a marquee signing. He's not scored yet. He's not got off the mark. So we're looking to try and make a statement at Celtic Park tomorrow. I'd imagine that he wants to get a goal soon. And if he's given an opportunity at Celtic Park with the form he's been in this season, he will bury it. So we're hoping for a strong defensive performance by Celtic. But you look at that Dundee United side that could potentially start tomorrow, and it's a side that I think are going to sit a little bit deeper. They are going to have limited chances. It's just about how we deal with them when they come. Now, let's talk about the big bonus that Dundee United have handed us heading into this game. Giondo Fuchs looks to be leaving the club. I think it's Giondo. Is it Giondo or Giando? I think it's Giondo. He's leaving. He's off. He's heading to Peterborough down in England. Dundee United are losing one of their best players. I would argue their best player for a 6-figure fee, which is actually really good, considering I think his contract is up at the end of the season. To be getting rid of him in January for a 6-figure fee and a significant sell-on clause as well is some really good business from Dundee United if they knew there was no chance of him renewing a contract at the club. However, he is going. He'll most likely not play tomorrow. I don't think the deal is sealed as I speak just now, but the bid has been accepted, and you'd imagine that everything will go through. If the bid's been accepted, there's no chance of him playing at Celtic Park tomorrow. He'll be on his way down there, getting his medical and such completed. He's one of those players who every time he's played against Celtic, he stood out to me. He stood out as a player who has a big future, I think, and he's always stood out as one of those players like, I wouldn't mind him at Celtic. You know that famous line you give some players? You always say, I wouldn't mind him at Celtic. You know, you say that about certain players you see sometimes. He always seems to be one of those guys for Celtic fans. He's always somebody that I see a lot of Celtic fans going, yeah, I wouldn't mind him. I'd take him. I think he could be a good use of Celtic. But he is heading down to Peterborough, and he will not be part of the team tomorrow, you would imagine, which is big for us because I feel like he has caused issues. He has that ability in the middle of the park, both defensively and a little bit of offensive ability as well. But he is a bit of a rock, and he has been tough to beat at times, and he's been solid for them. His link-up's good, and he's not going to be there. So that's big for us. Happy days. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm gutted Celtic have missed out on him. Don't worry. We've got better. We have signed better. Our midfield is stacked at the moment. But, you know, it's a big loss for Dundee United. They have money to spend. I don't imagine they'll have anybody in to replace him by 3 o'clock tomorrow. So let's move on to Celtic then. That's the team we've got to talk about most. And we've got our team prediction now. This section of the preview. Look, the team should remain unchanged bar one for me heading into... Well, do you know what I'd make? Personally, I'd make 2 changes. Let's load up my thoughts on the side here. Celtic's team, I think, will be this. As you can see, the big change being Abada for James Forrest in that front three. James Forrest wasn't good enough for me on Wednesday night against Hearts, and I think he should be dropped. Abada is a brilliant player, had a brilliant season. I want to see him back in the team. The only other change personally I would make is I would bring in Liam Scales for Greg Taylor personally. However, I don't think that will happen. I think it will be Greg Taylor who starts the game, and I think he'll probably see the majority of the game played. To be honest, I don't think Scales will get in. Now, my method behind all the madness and my method behind the team selection is this is the last game, of course, before Wednesday. I don't see the point in rotation before this game. Now, a lot of people will go, well, yeah, we should rotate so we avoid injuries and such. It's Dundee United. This isn't a give me game. This isn't a game where we're guaranteed 3 points. We still need to go out there and fight. We can rotate. I think use the subs wisely as the game goes on. This isn't a game you just suddenly drop players because we've got Rangers on Wednesday. Not a game, especially when they took points off us the last time they came to Celtic Park, which wasn't even that long ago in reality. You know, it wasn't that long ago they came and they took that draw. So it's not a game where I think we suddenly start dropping players. I've had people suggest maybe Julian comes into the team and he gets a start. Why? Why would you suddenly drop Starfelt or Carter Vickers when they're guaranteed to start against Rangers and they should be getting the minutes in their legs? They should be getting the game time. Don't suddenly throw them in cold turkey. You know, don't just suddenly drop them. Play your best team. Play the team that's probably going to play against Rangers is how I'd suggest it. If luck isn't on our side and someone does drop out and does get an injury or whatever, that's football and we just have to deal with it. And I can understand people who might be on the precautionary side thinking, well, let's not make changes. But for me, I think we should be playing as close as possible to the team that will play Rangers on Wednesday. Purely because I just don't see why they should suddenly go out the team and come back. I don't know. Not for me, especially when there's so much riding on it. Let's get the minutes in. Let's use our subs wisely if the game is going our way. But for me, on the screen there is the team that will play against Dundee United tomorrow. Can I quickly throw in, if Ange does make changes and there is rotation to maybe save legs and such, I'm not going to argue with the big man. He knows better than me. But I just don't see why he would. If he does and he has a method behind the madness, feel free. And that does it. That's my match preview for tomorrow's game against Dundee United. My score prediction, the part that you all wait for patiently right at the end to come and go over the course of 3 seconds. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Celtic. Hopefully another clean sheet. Hopefully an impressive display over 90 minutes. And ultimately a win heading into what is going to be the biggest game of the season, a defining game of the season on Wednesday night. I know I've been saying one game at a time and I've spoke about that game all sorts, but there is such an emphasis on preparation for that game. So a win for Celtic tomorrow is all I ask for, but I want a good performance in there as well. Now, just before I do end off the video, just a quick disclaimer. I'm not absolutely certain there will be a Free Things We Learn video out tomorrow. There might be and there might not be. If you watch the podcast, you'll know that I am going to the game with my dad for the first time in a long time. I've not been to a game with my dad in almost 6 years. And it was his birthday this week, and I decided to treat him to some hospitality tickets. So I'm going to be in hospitality for the game. I know, prawn sandwich. I'm one of those guys for this week only. There is a chance that I'm going to be in the stadium a couple of hours after the game finishes. And there's a chance afterwards I might not have time to make a video because I've also got something on tomorrow night. So there might not be, but I will try my hardest to get a Free Things We've Learned done tomorrow. If it's not a video, it might be a live stream. But just in case it's not there, that's the reason. I've not suddenly died. I've not thrown the toys out the pram if we've dropped points. There just might not be one tomorrow, so just beware for that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. I'll let you enjoy your Friday night. And hopefully the best for tomorrow. See you all next time.